In this module, we zoom in on life as a regulated crypto asset service provider. You'll see what MiCA expects for licensing, leadership, and day-to-day safeguards, and how meeting those expectations can turn a fragile startup into a trusted, scalable institution. MiCA doesn't care how cool your tech stack is, it cares what you actually do for customers. The moment your code touches money-like functions, custody, trading, issuing tokens, you're treated less like a hacker project and more like a financial institution. That means governance, documentation, policies, and accountability. The mindset shifts from, can we ship it, to can we defend it to a supervisor? MiCA's core identity test is straightforward. If you hold the keys or route the orders, you're probably a CASP. Running an exchange or trading platform, providing custody, execution, or portfolio management brings you into the regulated perimeter. By contrast, building non-custodial wallets or pure open-source software usually does not, unless you start intermediating client assets or decisions. Under MiCA, authorization isn't a rubber stamp, it's a filter. Supervisors look at 3 pillars. First, leadership. Are your key people fit and proper, with a clean record and credible governance? Second, substance. Do you have a genuine EU presence with people and decision-making on the ground, not just a mailbox? Third, capital. Enough financial strength to absorb shocks and protect customers. Fall short on any pillar, and authorization stops there. MiCA also wants CASPs to have real skin in the game. You must hold minimum capital that scales with how risky your business model is. Light advisory work sits at the low end. Once you hold client assets or run an exchange, required capital jumps, and operating a trading platform is higher again. On top of that, you need own funds or insurance covering roughly a quarter of last year's fixed costs. Think of governance as the nervous system of your MiCA business. The board sets direction and risk appetite, but 3 functions need to stay clear and independent. Operations executes the strategy. Control functions challenge it, managing risk and compliance. Audit tests whether both actually work in practice. For crypto platforms, one critical rule stands out. Avoid conflicts of interest, especially by strictly separating any exchange activity from market making. Operational resilience is your ability to keep running when technology fails, attacks hit, or key providers disappear. In the EU, DORA turns this into a hard requirement. It pushes leaders to treat ICT risk management, business continuity, and outsourcing oversight as core strategic topics, not just back-office IT concerns. MiCA approaches market integrity in crypto much like in traditional finance. The abuses are familiar. Insiders trading on private information, artificial volumes from wash trades, coordinated pump and dump schemes, and selective leaks. As a CASP, you're expected to monitor activity, detect suspicious patterns, and report them to regulators. Proactively, not just when something explodes. MiCA effectively turns growth hacking into trust building. On one side, you have hype, extreme yields, urgency, and tiny fine print. That might convert clicks, but it alarms regulators, banks, and serious investors. MiCA pushes you toward clear pricing, honest claims, and explicit risk warnings. You may lose some speculators, but you gain durability, brand trust, and access to institutional partners. Custody is where MiCA gets especially serious about trust. The core idea is segregation. Client assets must be held separately from the CASP's own estate. If the provider fails or goes bankrupt, customer funds should be legally protected and not fall into the general insolvency pot. MiCA's message to leaders is clear. If you want trust, you must explain yourself. That means a white paper that tells people who you are, how the technology works, and what rights and risks they're taking. Plus, honest information about energy use and environmental impact. The travel rule says that when value moves, key identity data moves with it. For transfers above a threshold, both the sender's and recipient's details must be collected, verified, and passed along between service providers. For leaders, this means you design processes where anonymity is no longer the default. Traceability becomes part of your core product, risk, and data strategies. Passporting is MiCA's built-in growth lever. Instead of chasing licenses in every EU country, you authorize once and can serve most of the single market. that allows one regulatory strategy, one core platform, and access to up to 450 million consumers, a powerful foundation for scaling both B2C and institutional offerings. Think of your MiCA journey as a race against the July 2026 deadline. Start with an honest assessment: what tokens you touch, which CASP services you provide, and where your red line risks are. Then spend months structuring governance, capital, and your product roadmap around the license you're targeting. Only after that do you move into authorization, assembling the dossier, engaging supervisors, and refining controls. The earlier you begin, the more options you keep. MiCA's standard for leaders is straightforward. Know exactly what you do, keep client and firm assets cleanly separated, give compliance real authority and resources, and actively watch markets and communications. The Wild West phase is over. Disciplined operators will own the next stage of this market.